This podcast is supported by Camp Coffee Company in Oceanside, California. Camp Coffee is a true locals cafe that happens to serve excellent coffee and food. Check out the @WeAreCampCoffee Instagram feed, and you'll see more than lattes perfectly coiffed with foam. You'll see the community of Oceanside. You'll see lives being lived. You'll see Oside expanding and contracting with the seasons. And you'll see the smiles on the faces of people who found their happy place nestled into the corner of downtown at Camp Coffee. On campcoffee.com, you can order food or coffee for pickup from the cafe, see the newest camp swag, I happen to have the t-shirt and a coffee mug, and even order whole coffee beans, so you're never short on the days you can't get to camp. On the patio at Camp Coffee, lives are intertwined and neighbors become friends over coffee and tea, and probably with a pastry or one of their iconic grilled cheese sandwiches. Head to campcoffeecompany.com to learn more, or visit your new coffee family at Camp Coffee Company in downtown Oceanside. Welcome back to the Coffee People podcast presented by Roast West Coast. I'm Ryan Woldt, and this is the show where we meet and are inspired by the entrepreneurial stories of coffee people. At the beginning of every show, I give you a little teaser about the episode's guests, but today we don't have any. The final show of Season 7 will come out next week, featuring Libby and Victor Arreguin, the founders and co-roasters of Romantics Coffee. But I kind of missed the routine of getting in the booth and recording and editing and piecing together a show. So here we are for a little interlude, enabling me to update you on some Roast West Coast news and have a cup of coffee together. I'm drinking a cup of French-pressed Momentum blend coffee from one of my industry partners, Maria Coffee. You can find it on mariacoffee.com. It leans to the darker side of medium dark with full-bodied notes of chocolate mousse and toffee, and it really fills up the entirety of my mouth. I knew that I was going to brew this when I woke up and saw the clouds and felt the mist while walking the dog. I brewed this way too early in the morning, but thanks to my double-wall stainless steel press, which I strongly recommend if you're going to do a French press, it's still holding temperature. And I hope that you're out there enjoying a cup of coffee that matches the tenor of your day as well, because it's time for this Roast West Coast interlude. I've got a few pieces of exciting news that I've been sitting on for a moment. For starters, and you've probably already noticed this, the Roast West Coast Coffee Podcast is becoming Coffee People. Now that we have two shows, it made more sense to rebrand the name just so you knew what you were getting into. Coffee People is going to be an interview with coffee professionals around the industry, just like we always have. And Coffee Smarter, our other podcast, which you can find on pretty much every podcast platform, is specifically geared towards making a better cup of coffee. If you got a second, go find that show and hit the follow button. The other great news that I have today is that in addition to all the great industry partners we already have, the partners who have been supporting this podcast and newsletter basically since the beginning, we're adding 2 new industry partners for the upcoming Season 8. You may have already noticed that I slipped San Franciscan Roaster Company into the list at the end of recent shows. After the interview we did with Bill Kennedy, their CEO and head honcho, he came on board as an unsolicited supporter. It was actually a pretty big emotional boost for me, in a moment where I was feeling a bit overwhelmed by some of the challenges I face being an entrepreneur. I've talked about the beauty of the San Franciscan roasters on the show, and now I'm looking forward to not only learning more about the machines, but also more about SFR. I'll be seeing the SFR team in person at the Specialty Coffee Association convention in Portland, April 20 through the 23rd. If you're going to be there, find them at booth 253 on the vendor floor. Also, I want to introduce you to Roastar. Roastar is a coffee packaging company. They provide the bags, pouches, and cans that our coffee comes in, and they work with roasters of all sizes on all facets of the packaging process, including collaborating with some pretty awesome packaging designers. That's important because not only are they coming on board as a roast industry partner, they're coming on board as the presenting sponsor of this Coffee People podcast, and we're going to collaborate on a new design column in the newsletter, featuring both the best in coffee packaging design and interviews with the designers and artists who create them. I have to admit, I love packaging design. I even have like a good box closet. I'm not sure when that happened, but my wife makes fun of me whenever I save a good box, which I think is ridiculous because why would you just get rid of a good box? Actually, I used to do some low-level corporate packaging design in my previous life as a graphic designer, so I'm really excited to collaborate with Roastar on this project. And we're taking the collaboration even further. I'll be heading up to that SEA convention in Portland next month, and every afternoon, I'll be taking over part of the Roastar vendor booth to interview convention goers about their coffee journey. Pretty cool stuff. I hope to see you there and maybe get you on the show. Finally, I'm going to end this little interlude by saying, Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm actually recording this on Thursday, but I know tomorrow morning we'll start out with coffee, and I'm going to plan on ending it with an Irish coffee using a recipe from Talking Crow Coffee Roasters. They've been on the show before, and they specialize in decaf coffees, which I need because after lunch I'm a decaf guy. But I do have one minor twist to their recipe. The Talking Crow recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, 4 ounces of good coffee, and 1 to 1.5 ounces of Irish whiskey. Here's my twist. I'm adding a full ounce of Irish whiskey and another ounce of First Light Coffee whiskey. Not just because they support my show, but because First Light whiskey is damn good, and it's usually already on top of my liquor cabinet. To mix your Irish coffee cocktail, add the brown sugar into the whiskey glass of your choice. Pour in one or both whiskeys, top with coffee, and stir until the sugars dissolve. Delve into real luxury with a float of whipped cream. And you know what? Tomorrow's a holiday, so I'm not going to wait. I've got to wrap this up so I can make one of those. Head to roastwestcoast.com and subscribe to this show's newsletter to check out that recipe. And my promise to you is that now and forever, that newsletter won't be written by an AI chatbot. It's a real person on the other side of those words. Thanks to all of my OG roast industry partners, I really couldn't have gotten this far without you. I love them all, and they include Café Laterre, Camp Coffee Company, Coffee Cycle Roasting, Ignite Coffee Company, Maria Coffee, First Light Coffee Whiskey, Cape Horn Coffee Importers, Zumbar Coffee and Tea, Ascend Coffee Roasters, Mostra Coffee Company, and Steady State Coffee Roasting. I was just there this week for a great espresso. Thanks to all of you that are listening today all around the world. Thank you for being here, for commenting on posts, for connecting on social media. I hope I have the opportunity to share a cup of coffee with you sometime soon. This episode of the Roast West Coast Coffee Podcast has been written, produced, and recorded by me, Ryan Woldt. I hope this interlude has found you happy, healthy, and with at least a thread or two of sanity left, enabling you to make it through the day. That Irish coffee should help. Always tip your baristas, and be sure to drink good coffee. Oh, and the other big news, not show related, but life related. We got a dog. His name is Vaquito Whiskey Thundernuts, and you might hear him in the background occasionally. He's a riot, and apparently he loves coffee. He keeps trying to knock over my coffee mug so he can lick up the spill from the floor. He's a true coffee dog, and he'll be joining me as I travel to coffee shops all around Southern California and beyond. Did you know that this podcast is a listener and reader-supported creative effort? It's true. There are a bunch of crazy and cool people who subscribe to the paid version of this newsletter at roastwestcoast.com. If you've been enjoying this episode, or the 130 or so that came before it, please consider subscribing. The podcast is always free to listen to, but the paid subscriptions are how this show grows. And damn if I don't appreciate the support that comes every time a new name shows up on that paid subscriber roll. Thank you.